service. It is September
26.
26th. I am here live with a whole bunch of my friends. Hi, friends. Would you say hi to
Hi.
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 Facebook.
Facebook or is watching it afterwards on YouTube? I found out people do that. So hello to everyone who's doing that. And let me say hi to Rosalind and Alyssa and Hannah and Joy, who I didn't say hi. And Michael, we finally got to meet Nancy yesterday. That was a treat.
Did. It was great.
And it was Bring Your Mom to Services Day, which
was right. That's right.
We had a lot of moms there. So welcome everyone who's here. I'm Rabbi Brian. I'm hosting the Saturday service. We had how many of you were at the service yesterday? Yesterday's service, high holiday service.
Didn't you have about 80?
Yeah.
Yay.
I have some leftover things that I had prepared to do in that service, and we're going to get to do some of those as a group today.
Hey.
Before we do that, I want to ask us to do something. We haven't done this exercise in a long while, and I thought this would be a great way to start the morning. We're going to start this morning with a gratitude text. And you might think that would be that we are going to read a text about gratitude. That is not the case. We are going to be, everyone please take out if you're already on your phone, you might have to switch apps, but take out a phone or whatever device you have, go to your messages program, and scroll down. Scroll down to about there. If you want, you can do this in email as well. Pick somebody at random. I don't even know who that is.
That's random.
Gillian, fantastic. Pick somebody at random who you haven't texted with or emailed for a while, and I want you to just send them a little message this morning saying, I randomly... You can write your own words, obviously. Thought... Oh, that was totally misspelled. I randomly thought about you this morning and wanted to take the 32 seconds to actually say hi.
I was thinking about you.
You can write any words that it is that work for you. I'm adding in, I'm glad
hi, period.
You're in my life. Somebody's doing voice dictation. That's fantastic. So there we go. A little bit of gratitude to start off our Saturday service. Hey, Marcus, glad you're here. Hey, Rob, Rags, Linda, glad you guys are all here. Oh, hi, Ruth. Good to see you.
Glad you're here.
Thank you. Janice, glad to see you're here. And thank you for muting yourself when you're doing voice dictation. So take a moment and just wherever you are, just take a moment and send a random text to someone. I wrote, I randomly thought about you this morning and wanted to take the 32 seconds to actually say hi. I'm glad you're in my life. Just to take a moment to have a little bit of gratitude. If you want extra credit, send notes to a few people. And the idea is just that this is important to connect with each other. I think that's why we all show up to these services, why we all show up to things, is so that we can... And it doesn't take that much time, does it? And I should have asked you to do a baseline, how are you feeling before you sent the text? And then who could feel that they're getting like a little bit of smile on their face knowing that somebody's going to answer and someone's going to see that text in a little bit? You can feel that little bit of, it's a little like life hack. Yeah, Amy, what are you saying, my friend? Oh, Amy, you don't know you were unmuted for a second.
No, I'm sorry. No, I was just telling my husband that we were sort of doing that, discussing that exact thing this morning.
Oh, good. Randomly sending texts to people?
No, randomly acknowledging the importance of everybody
Yeah.
around us and knowing them or the difference that they make to others.
Amen.
Oh, I got a really cute response.
Oh, who is that? Go ahead, Allie. What happened?
It was an online friend I had met when I was like 14, and we're still Facebook friends, but we haven't talked in a while. And she was like, "Oh my God, it's so nice to hear from you. This is so sweet. I hope you're doing okay. And I've been thinking about you and the fires."
Isn't that just?
That's really
It's just. It's simple. And
I sent out it turned out to be a multiple MMS message.
Oh, you got double.
So I got 3 people coming back to me saying,
Wow.
my sister was one of them. She said, "You're a sweetie."
Aw.
and she said, "'Twas her thinking of others that made you think of her. 'Twas her thinking of others that
Right.
made you think of her." And it's a, reaching out to other people, making them feel good, makes them think good things about you. It's simple. Good job, everybody. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Oh, thank.
Yeah, nice way to begin.
Yeah.
It is, right?
I
A
agree.
little gratitude. I want us to look at last night we did a whole discussion. We talked a lot about forgiveness. And those of you who have been at the Saturday service for a while know that we have been looking at and we've been reinforcing that there are 5 elements to a spiritual life. And I want to see where forgiveness fits into those 5 elements of a spiritual life. But before we do that, I'd like some people who are old hats who have been here before, one at a time, give me what are the 5 elements of a spiritual life according to Eric Fromm. Somebody.
Transformation.
Yeah, Betsy Ann's giving us our first one, that a spiritual life is about transformation, that the spiritual life isn't about transformation, not transforming the world as so much as being transformed and seeing what changes happen. Hey, Sean, nice to see that you're here. Hi, Kip, glad you're here. Yes, Alma, second quality of a spiritual life usually includes?
It's not all about me.
That a spiritual life, if this is us here, that a spiritual life says it's not just about us, that it's about other people. And we also said that paradoxically, that's us on the other end, that a spiritual life, it's not about us, it's about other people, and paradoxically, it is also about us. So we're getting 2 for 1 in that so that's actually 6 things in a spiritual life. And that was one of Jung's ideas, that the greatest tool we have to examine a spiritual religious life is the idea of a paradox, that it's not either or, that it's both and. Fantastic. We got 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 6 done, depending on how you want to do the math. Give me another quality of a spiritual life. Carol Williams, is that you? Yes, you're doing it with your hand. Another quality of a spiritual life is this kind of shape. Carol Williams, would you mind telling us what that means? Oh, you're muted, though. That's fantastic. Could you do it without being muted, though? Can you unmute yourself, Carol?
Yeah, it means there's something big.
There's something big, but not just big.
Something infinite.
Yeah, that we are all part of the Big Bang. Like we're all part of infinity. I got numbers 4 and 5. 2 other qualities of a spiritual life. Yes, Kip, was that a hand up?
It was.
What do you got?
Questions are more important than answers.
That in a spiritual life, we know that not understanding is more important than understanding. That Werner Erhard put it this way. He said, "Understanding is the booby prize." Isn't that great? Understanding, it's great that you think you understand. You have won absolutely nothing. And the last quality of a spiritual life, according to Eric Fromm, in the way that we draw our pictures. Yes, Bob.
Steps or stages.
Yeah, that a spiritual life is not monolithic, that it's about a priority of values, that it's that we know that there are values, that hatred falls down short below love and truth and justice. So my question is, if we have this word forgiveness that we were playing with yesterday a lot, how does forgiveness fit into these 5 to 6 different elements? Which ones do you see? Are there any that you can say, no, forgiveness doesn't exactly fit into that one?
I think they fit into all of them.
All of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give you number 5. I'll give you that we can say forgiveness is a value that we value very highly. Help me out. How is forgiveness about Oh, okay, I think I just answered that one. Forgiveness about transformation. Forgiveness is not about us, it's about other people, and it is about us. How's that have to do with forgiveness? Yes? No?
Pretty crucial.
Well, yeah. I mean, forgiveness frees you, and it can be very kind and gracious to other.
All right. Bob, you have your hand up. What's going on, bud?
Well, I have thought about this for a long time, and that I think that forgiveness is more effective when it is applied to self.
Oh, we're going to get there. Don't jump ahead of me, Bob. That's coming up. That's coming up later.
No reading the text ahead of time.
That's coming up later. Thank you, Bob.
Sorry.
Bob and I are on a spiritual plane together sometimes. All right, give me other ones. So forgiveness is about transformation. Yes, it has to be. It's about ourselves and others. How is forgiveness about connection to the infinite? Yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
I think when you it's connected is when you forgive others and you allow yourself to forgive, it frees up space for good things rather than holding on to the anger and the pain of whatever needs to be forgiven. I think it's freeing.
Yeah, when you get to forgiveness, when you do forgiveness right, you get this sense of at oneness. Absolutely. Fantastic. I love that. Thank you.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael, and then Kip.
Well, I've been wanting to mention this for a while, that this infinite sign, I think, is compelling, is the concept of being of finiteness.
Oh, that the other end of infinite is finite. So I'm going to just make a dot to that. What is help me understand? How does that?
Well, coming to an end short of completion. It's imperfection.
I say that again. The little beep distracted me.
Finite essentially means coming to an end short of completion.
That the
That's
finite
what
means
the concept is, and it's tied into our mortality and our imperfection. And I think it's as profound spiritually as an infinite perspective.
So maybe
coming to terms with the finite existence, or the possibility of a finite world.
So could I put that as paradox as well? That as part of the infinite, the idea of the finite is important.
I think they're co-equal.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? The finite and the infinite are equal.
Yeah.
Co-partners.
I love that. It doesn't work mathematically, but who needs mathematics?
Well, spiritually, in terms of
you can't have one
in the God
without
of your
the
own
other.
Understanding. It's critical.
Wonderful. I thank you. And then Kip, you had your hand up, bud.
I was just saying that modeling forgiveness or demonstrating forgiveness helps to model what the infinite is showing to us on a daily basis.
There's a Alexander Pope quote that says, "To err is human, to forgive
divine."
So that would bring us right back into the infinite. Thank you, Kip. And how about questions being more important than statements? How does forgiveness fit in there? How is forgiveness a spiritual topic in that?
When you're not forgiving, you're holding somebody in essentially a statement.
Yeah. You have froze. Go ahead. Keep going, Rags.
You did this bad thing, or you are this bad thing, and forgiveness opens it up, the infinite possibilities.
Right. That to not forgive someone is to assume that they are stuck as how they are. They are the statement.
Or they're stuck as how I think they are, because usually I'm there's some construction I've made in order to not forgive them for whatever.
Thank you. There's a T.S. Eliot quote. I'm all quotes. This is all quote Saturday, apparently. T.S. Eliot said, "My tailor is the only honest man I know, for he takes new measurements of me every time he sees me."
Yeah.
And how often all of us, well, that's just who he is. That's who she is. And we're stuck that way.
In a box.
Yeah, in a box. Wonderful. So there we are, forgiveness. We're going to keep zooming in on forgiveness. Forgiveness, the definition of forgiveness is to stop feeling anger for an offense, flaw, or mistake. And we talked really briefly about this, and I want us to zoom in on it. Offense, flaw, or mistake. Now, this is a very rabbinic tradition. The rabbis would say, the rabbis would say that there are no words that are in the Torah that are there accidentally. That every word that is there intentionally. There's nothing. I think the English word is pleonasm, which really helps so much because who knows that word. But pleonasm means to add more information than necessary. And for example, I was meeting with a bat mitzvah student who said something about my grandfather and his wife. I said, "Oh, so that's not your grandmother." And the kid was blown away that I could figure out because he said my grandfather and his wife. I'm like, well, you wouldn't have said it that way if that weren't it. In the Bible, it says there's a passage when Cain kills Abel, and God says your brother's bloods cry out from the land to me. And the rabbis say, bloods? Why is there an S on bloods? Well, in Hebrew, it's not an S, but you understand what I'm saying. And they say, why is it bloods? That's a strange thing. Nobody ever puts a plural. It would be like sheeps or fishes, shrimpses. You don't put an S on bloods. Your brother's bloods. He had blood, not bloods. And the rabbis say, why bloods? And they say, well, the reason it says bloods is because it's to teach us that if you take a single life, you take all the generations that might have passed from him. You take all of the lives that might have been affected from him. And from that, the rabbis teach, if you take a single life, it's as though you have destroyed the world. So every word is important. That being said, the definition of the word forgiveness, not to say that the Bible and the dictionary are synonymous, but says to stop feeling anger for an offense, flaw, or mistake. Well, the dictionary would not have given us the three different words, offense, flaw, or mistake. We are to stop feeling anger, or forgiveness is when we stop feeling anger for offense, flaw, or mistake. Three separate things. Let's start with, can you give me, Betsy.
Okay, I remember a quote that I heard in some Buddhism book that's anger is when you punish yourself for someone else's mistake.
I love that.
Oh, that's good.
Anger is when you punish yourself for someone else's mistake. It's wonderful, wonderful. So forgiveness, if we, help me understand the difference between offense, flaw, and mistake. An offense, I need to forgive someone because they did an offense. I need to forgive someone because they did a flaw or they did a mistake. Alma, what do you have, my friend?
Offense is when you do something deliberately.
Okay, so offense is something deliberately done.
Not necessarily.
Well,
some people just go around doing stuff and I'm offended because my values don't match what they did.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just doing stuff. They're not trying to offend me, but I'm offended.
That comes into the flaw.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we got to have some difference here between a flaw and a mistake, a flaw and an offense. Otherwise, the dictionary could have just said, stop feeling anger for an offense or mistake.
Well, what about taking something personally?
Well, I'm going to be upset by your offense. I'm going to be upset by your flaw or by your mistake, but there's something going on here. Hannah, what do you say?
Well, a flaw to me sounds, excuse me, is like inherent to the person.
Yeah, they couldn't help it.
they're
Nearsighted.
flawed, or like
Yeah.
that's who the box thing is, like that's just who they are. It's their flaw.
Uh-huh.
Or it is the way they've been brought up. That is the way that they would expect to behave.
So this is inherent within them.
Yeah.
So to forgive someone because of something that is inherent, they did something. Carol Clausen Williams, I'm with you. They did something. I'm offended, but the real thing is that's just they're built that way. It's a flaw in the system.
And there was no malice.
There's no malice. Maybe malice brings us to offense. How do we feel about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah, it
malice
kind of
would be
feels like malice might be mistake and offense. Just are you repentant of one or the other?
Okay. So thank you, Kip. I like it. So we have flaw is something inherent within them. Offense is that there was malice behind it. So flaw, they didn't mean to do it, or even if they did mean to do it, they couldn't help it because that's how they're built.
Yeah.
Malice, they know what they did. Mistake?
They didn't mean to do it.
They didn't mean to do it. It happened anyway. Yeah, Jeff.
A mistake is usually a singular occurrence also, whereas offense can be multiple occurrences.
Okay. So they didn't mean they
You
didn't
make a
mean to do it.
mistake.
They couldn't help but do it. They meant to do it.
Right.
They didn't mean to do it. They couldn't help but do it. They meant to do it. Bob, go ahead. I see you there.
Yeah, I think, is it okay if I go back to what I was talking about before?
The thing about self? No, you're 2 cards from there.
Okay, then I'll save it from then.
Save it for then.
If you were to say yes, that what I would say is that.
Wait. No. That's
Didn't say yes.
I didn't say yes. That would take it in the quality of, I don't know, because then I said no, and you're going to keep doing it. Does that then go to malice? Or do we say Bob had no choice because that's how he was brought up? Or Bob misunderstood me?
All in humor.
All in humor. Bob, I look forward to your very lengthy email afterwards explaining to me. Thank you. Rags, go ahead.
It's going to be really funny.
One thing about offense, when I hear offense, part of what comes in is the legal idea. You know, you're brought up on charges. You have an offense against the law.
But a flaw against the law, we could say you're not culpable. You didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
or
so offense isn't offending me. It's more like a transgression of law, is how I hear it in that definition.
Okay. I'm gonna allow our friends. Wait, go ahead, Marcus.
Flaws might be character defects, like.
Yeah.
This is inherent within the person.
Right.
They didn't mean to do. That's just they're nearsighted. They couldn't see the thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They were on their cell phone, and so they didn't see the thing, and they intentionally did the thing.
They ran the red light.
They ran the red light intentionally. They're colorblind, or they were otherwise distracted. Okay, so let me ask this: which is the easier to forgive? Is it easier? Do you think that you forgive more easily somebody's offense, somebody's flaw, or someone's mistake?
Flaw.
I think it's flaw, right? We all going to go with that? Mm-hmm. And I want to say hi to Betsy, who just joined us, and James, who joined us. And we have some people who are Facebooking it in. There's from Shirley. And Jamal says, mistake, maybe you did something wrong or took the wrong action. We're going to get to mistakes in a second. And Heather says, it happened unknowingly. That would be a mistake. So we'll get to all this. So the easiest to forgive is a flaw.
I don't agree.
Go, Michael, go.
I think the easiest to forgive is a mistake.
Okay.
A flaw is a psychological issue.
Yeah. Well, a flaw, you can say, well, he can't help it. He's a jerk, but that doesn't mean that I forgive him.
So flaw
I just
and
think
mistakes
that's
are
what he's
easier, but offense is going to be harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can all agree on that one. Okay.
Can I say something about flaw?
Yeah, go ahead. Betsy Ann, I think.
Yeah. Well, we all have those characteristics, right, that we can call flaws. And when you're really close with somebody, you kind of call each other on it, and you try to, I don't know, I have a couple of friends that we try to help each other when we fall back into things that are difficult for the friends to handle because we didn't really mean it, but it doesn't mean that we're locked into it, that we become more and more aware of a flaw and that we can modify it. Some of the flaws we can modify, I think.
That's true. Our offensive things we don't even know about.
We do.
Okay, this is good. So, flaw, a mistake. Mistake's a little bit. I would say. So I've taught this. I don't know the last time we've talked about it, but mistakes. Catherine Schultz has a PhD in mistakes. Like, go figure. This is a thing. She's written books. She has TED Talks about mistakes. Brilliant stuff. I'm going to ask you the question that she asks a group of people. And her first question out the gate is, what does it feel like when you make a mistake? And I want you to think for a second how you would answer that. What does it feel like when you make a mistake? And we'll just take some answers. Sean, what does it feel like when you make a mistake?
Once you recognize it, there's a splash of guilt.
Guilt. Yeah. Some guilt.
Embarrassment. I feel like you can't do anything right.
Embarrassment. That your self-confidence goes. And
stupid.
Catherine Schultz says, actually no. And Sean, I jumped over you because you were leaking towards the true answer there, and I had to. I cut you off intentionally there.
I caught it. That's why I zipped it.
Okay, thank you. So what Catherine Schultz says is what it feels like when you make a mistake is none of this embarrassment, none of this self-deprecation. She says that is the answer to the question of what does it feel like when you realize you made a mistake?
Yeah.
Her question was, and that was where Sean was completely right, was what does it feel like when you make a mistake? And the answer is it feels normal.
Nothing. Yeah, I feel nothing.
What does it feel like? What did it feel like when I put the sink? Some of you saw this morning. I did this with our sink. Oh, come on, Brian. Oh, the children texted me. So this morning I left the sink spigot facing out. What did it feel like when I left the sink spigot facing out, which was not the right thing to do so that the next person to use the sink would get wet? But I was filling a pot, so that was why I had done it. What did it feel like when I finished filling the pot and turned off the water and turned to put the pot on the stove? Did it feel like I was making a mistake?
No.
Anything.
Didn't realize.
It's normal.
Right. So the question, and here, folks, please, stricken from your vocabulary, you're no longer allowed to say, what were you thinking? Because the answer was, I was thinking it was right.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't being an asshole. I wasn't like, woo, ha, ha, ha. I'm going to get somebody wet.
Well, actually, the answer is nothing.
It's not a mistake until you're called on it?
It's not a mistake when you do it. So then, yeah, that's it. That's Catherine Schultz's idea, is that mistakes don't feel like anything. So if that's true, forgiveness. When they make a mistake, Jesus' last words on earth are purported to have been, Father. No, that's not it. The last words were,
Father, forgive them.
Father, forgive them.
Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Right.
If they don't know what they're doing, they should be forgiven. Bob, you ready to jump into the self part now?
Okay.
You're on, Bob.
Okay, so
Hot seat, Bob.
so that what I've discovered is that when I'm looking at the sense of forgiveness, that I question whether or not I'm making a judgment about somebody else's action that they may not have intended, but it has offended me, so that my forgiveness is something that I need to do to myself for forgiving myself for making that judgment. or for trying to determine whether or not somebody else has made a mistake, whereas in their way of thinking that it may not have been that. And so that for me, I have found that if I think that another person needs my forgiveness, I may be correct or I may not. They may not care whether I forgive them or not. So, but I keep on holding on to that unless I forgive myself for that thought.
Yeah.
So we got to forgive ourselves first? How many of us have made mistakes in the last, I don't know, 5 minutes, 5 days? Anyone made mistakes recently?
Sure, of course.
I'm perfect.
How are you are perfect. Whoever just said that, you actually are perfect. Do you forgive yourself when you, and let's go back to Catherine Schultz's idea. When you made that mistake, you didn't mean to make that mistake. Can you forgive yourself for having made a mistake? I forgot to put enough gas in the car.
Oops.
Or I made the mistake of thinking Jane was going to get me all the things that were on the shopping list.
You haven't forgiven that one.
Right.
I
Hanging
have
on to
totally
that one.
forgiven that one. I don't care. I
Why
really
keep
don't.
bringing her in? Then you haven't forgiven her. I mean, really.
Mistakes
No,
are
I'm going to
part of
say
says
you're
we
making a
forgive
mistake
ourselves?
thinking you know my feelings better than I do.
No.
No, I think we're right.
You can be as right as you want. I'm going to hold on to my own opinion.
I understand that from the rabbi.
But also, let me. The reason I bring out my own life as an example is because it's much better than me doing this and pointing to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so easier to forgive a mistake, especially when we see that they did not mean to do it or we did not mean to do it.
Yeah.
Next category, flaws. A flaw, we said, was something inherent. If it is inherent, if it is part of the person's, that's how they are built. If that's true, or for ourselves, this is just how I am. I'm not a very strong reader. That's a flaw. I've got to forgive myself for not being a very strong reader because beating myself up about it's not going to help.
Right.
Somebody did something, they were nearsighted, so they ran their shopping cart into your shopping cart. That's the flaw. Do you not see that you must forgive them too? Gosh, that sounds like biblical language there for a moment. So if they make a mistake, we should forgive them because they didn't know what they did. If it's a flaw, we should forgive them or ourselves because it was inherent. That leaves us just one category left. This feels like a magic trick. I've eliminated this one. I've eliminated this one. That leaves us only with this one. Jeffrey, oh boy, I'm getting nervous. Go ahead.
Before you get to that, I want to still talk about mistakes and flaws.
Go.
A mistake, you can forgive a person and move forward. You're talking about the future, that it's okay, you made a mistake and we're still friends.
Yeah.
A flaw, depending on the flaw, you can still forgive, but you will not be friends with them because you cannot deal with the flaw or you cannot accept the flaw.
If you can't
you can
accept
forgive
it,
them, but you would not necessarily be friends with them. In an offense, you are not going to be friends with them, period.
Right.
Okay, so we're of agreement that it's harder to forgive somebody for an offense.
Yes.
Yes.
We cannot avoid mistakes because that's a part of life learning.
Yes.
You can't escape flaws. That's just part of how people are built. I'm going to go
mistakes.
And
Or mistakes. I learn by my mistakes. That's how I learn things.
Yeah, we all do. You know what's really funny about that? I learn the most when I make mistakes, yet I do my darndest to try to keep from making mistakes, which means I'm trying to keep myself from getting smarter.
That's true for everybody.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a story about offense. The year is whatever the year is. What year did they give me that? 2011. 2011, I'm teaching in Los Angeles. The senior class decides to pull a prank as senior ditch day, and they all break into the school sometime in the mid-morning. They break into the school and they pile all of the furniture in every classroom up into a giant modern sculpture of desks and chairs. We come in as teachers 7-something in the morning, and we all go, holy shit. So now not only do I have to prep for my morning class, I have to disassemble this ridiculous chairs on tables on the middle of the room.
Just tell them to have a seat.
Yeah. But my first period
Why
class
is it your responsibility to disassemble that?
Wait, he's not done with his story.
My first period class is 10th grade, 10th graders. It's not them who put the tables in the middle, and this is a group who they need as little distraction as possible, seriously. So I disassemble the chairs, because that's what I'm to do. And I see on my board, there's a note that says, Rabbi, we are so sorry. We were doing this, I don't remember the exact words, but we did this in every other classroom, so we had to do it in yours also. We're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry.
Oh.
Go to
That's hilarious.
Hold on, wrong button. Oh no.
Join me sometime.
No, sorry. I hit the wrong key there.
Mistake.
That was a mistake. I look at the thing that's written on the wall and I say, fuck them. They knew better. I know they know better because they wrote that thing on the wall. This is not a mistake.
Maybe they wrote it on everybody's wall.
No, they did not.
Okay.
They loved Rabbi Brian best.
They loved me the most, which, by the way, is a
course.
dangerous position for any teacher to ever be in, as I found out at my next job. So,
But wait, if they even wrote rabbi on every other wall, on all of them, it wouldn't make sense. He was the only rabbi.
This
No,
is
they
true.
would write the name of the
Okay.
teacher.
So I'm fuming. I undo the whole thing, and and my first period class becomes somewhat of a self-help group, and it's about me helping myself. And I express to them, how could they? They knew what they were doing was wrong. Second period, I'm a little calmer, and I say, what? And also the seniors don't show up to school that day.
Of course.
Senior skip day.
It was senior
skip day, right? And they got us all beforehand. Third period, I calmed down. By fourth period, it has dawned on me. Stay with me here. It has dawned on me that what they did was actually a mistake, not an offense.
Really?
That what they did was a mistake, and they didn't understand what they were doing. Because had they truly understood what they were doing, they would not have done it. That it wasn't an offense, even though I had the writing literally on the wall. It was a mistake, and I forgave them.
Was it easier for you to forgive them since you were able to say it was a mistake?
Exactly. Because if it was an offense, then it was personal. And it wasn't personal. They just didn't understand.
I think you could take it another step further and say, oh God, these are seniors and this is the way they express their feeling about leaving the school that has been so important to them. And you could laugh instead of feeling it. There was not only no malice, there was creativity behind it. In my high school, what they did is systematically take the erasers, and then they got all the erasers from all the classes, and they spelt that on the parking lot, class of 56.
And so when they came back to school the next day, I was joyous. And I said, guys, and I explained to them exactly what I'm saying to you, that I said, you obviously didn't know what you were doing, and I forgive you. Did that mess their heads up horribly? T.S. Eliot, I think it was, no, dang it, can't remember the guy's name who said it. He said, forgive your enemies, it dreadfully confuses them.
Yeah.
I didn't do it to upset them. I did it to give myself a sense of peace. There's a quote misattributed to the Buddha that says, holding on to resentment is like grabbing a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone.
And
forgiveness. This is a quote that does not have an attribution. There's nobody who we know necessarily said it. Quote investigator doesn't know who said it. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it.
Ooh.
Boom. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it.
Hey.
You see where I'm going here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
More explanation, please.
Okay. Thank you for asking. Oh, and also, Michael, I could kiss you through the screen right now yesterday for asking when you got lost. I so appreciated that. There were so many people who needed it to be slowed down, and it gave me a great chance to re-explain. So thank you so much for doing that. We need to forgive ourselves for our offenses, our flaws, and our mistakes. Obviously, and we talked about this yesterday, that we need to make sure that we are good with the people who we might have offended. But with regards to our flaws and our mistakes, it is the most important thing we can do is that we forgive ourselves. And here, there's something else in the definition that gave me a hint that it was so exciting to find. It says to stop feeling anger from an offense. What that leads me to realize is that when we make an offense, a flaw, or a mistake, we're going to feel angry. That's natural. When you pick up a hot pan with your bare hands, it's going to feel hot. It's going to hurt. You're going to feel anger when you realize you have made an offense, a flaw, or a mistake. That's natural. But it's the stopping of it that we can twiddle with. We can see if we can stop it sooner and sooner so that we don't have to live in it and we can be the violet's scent. And we can have forgiveness. Okay.
Mark Twain was the one who quoted that.
It was not, I thought it was Mark Twain as well, Alma, but it is not officially a Mark Twain quote.
Another one was supposed to be, Rumi.
Rumi said it also?
Somebody said it first.
Yeah. There's a great quote from Abraham Lincoln that says, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Mark Twain came up first, but he comes under Rumi quotes.
Yeah, again, quote investigator. I did a little bit of a dive on it. They don't know exactly who said it. Okay, I'm gonna leave that be. Anyone who wants to, we're gonna get to this in a second. Let me make an announcement. We're gonna try something different today after this service concludes. We're going to try something. Joe, where's my friend Joe? There's Joe. Hi, Joe. And Alex, my friend Alex. Alex helps so much with making sure that people are muted, except for when there was that unfortunate incident. It was so funny yesterday. Somebody, and I don't know who, said something and their mic wasn't muted, and it was a beautiful moment that we all got to enjoy. And Joe, thank you for moderating the chats as you always do. We're going to try something after the service today, which was the idea of one of the people who is here, which is after the service, I'm going to leave. And then you guys are welcome to stay for coffee hour. You have to bring your own coffee. Wait a second. Okay, I thought that was totally fun. Uh-oh. I lost something there. Okay, so we're going to stay afterwards for coffee hour, and coffee hour is going to go like this. after I leave, you guys are welcome to, there shall be Clubhouse A and Clubhouse B. And Alex, I'm going to ask you to make 2 different groups and invite people to either hang out in Clubhouse A or Clubhouse B. Now, when you get the invitation to the Zoom room for Clubhouse A or Clubhouse B, you don't have to accept it. You can also leave. Or you can just stay in the main hangout area where Joe is going to be moderating. And, so if you want to have follow-up discussion with somebody in Clubhouse A or Clubhouse B, please to do so. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky because I didn't plan this part fully out enough. And this is all, as you know, religion outside the box. This is a work in progress. I don't know how to ask this without embarrassing people, but I need people to be bunk counselors in bunkhouse A and bunkhouse B. Somebody to moderate and lead the discussion. Kip Roberts, is that something you're comfortable doing? You can say
Sure.
no, totally. So
Yeah,
Alex,
no.
can you make sure that Kip is in, do you want to be bunkhouse A or bunkhouse B?
I'll take my chances.
Okay, so Alex, make sure Kip is in either of the bunkhouses. And can I ask, Rags, are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
Is
but,
it something you have the ability, time, or inclination to do?
Probably not, because my son and grandson call in right after this.
No worries. I like that. Can I get a person to, Carol Ann Clausen, are you willing? Able? I think I lost Carol Ann. That's fine. Can I get a volunteer? I'll take a volunteer. For Clubhouse, not A or B. Meg, go Jumbos. So Meg is going to be running Clubhouse B or Clubhouse A, and that's going to happen after this service. So again, after the service, I will log off, and then you guys are welcome to have milk and cookies or juice or whatever it is you have, either in the main room, or you'll be invited to join either Clubhouse A or Clubhouse B, and Kip and Meg will be the people who will, if you want to continue having a discussion, or if you just want to hang out. We'll see where that goes, and then we'll see how this happens. We good? Okay. Let me bring us back to this. Wait a second. Split screen. Go, Rabbi. You guys remember this little image that we had?
Yep.
We used this a while ago. I'm going to go over it quickly as a review. If you have not been here, this will probably not be enough time for you to understand all of it, but it should be enough for you to see what we're doing. We're talking about a not change, so delta not happening, or delta change happening, and then we have either benefits and detriments. And so we talked about it in the past that not change. So here is this idea that we forgive. If we are willing to forgive them, for they know not what they do, and we're willing to be divine, to err is human, to forgive divine. If we are to have more forgiveness in our life than we currently do, and this is our present reality, what are some things that we could fill into this chart? There are things that if we were to have more forgiveness in our lives, we would lose this thing that we currently have. And we might have this new problem that we never had before. If we were to have more forgiveness in our lives towards ourselves, towards others, we might lose this thing that, it feels like Jeopardy. We might lose this. You do not have to do it in the form of a question, but if you're Jewish, that's just how the words come out anyway. What are things that you currently have in our current reality that are the benefits of not forgiving? If we were all we would all forgive easily if it weren't for this thing that we currently have and enjoy because we don't forgive.
Anger.
Righteousness.
I hear anger coming up a few times. We would have to give up some of our anger, and we've talked about anger, that anger feels great at the moment you're doing it. There's a horrible hangover afterwards, but the moments of cathartic with anger, oh my gosh, isn't that great?
Self-righteousness.
We'd have to give up our self-righteousness.
Arrogance.
Yeah.
Give me those again. I heard Jeff and then someone else.
I said arrogance.
Jeff said arrogance.
Arrogance. We'd have to give up some arrogance. Oh no, I don't want to do that.
Worldview.
Brian, say that again.
Worldview, your view of the world. You have to change your view of the world and the other person.
Oh, I'm totally out on that one. I don't want to do that.
Power.
You have to give up your worldview. Did someone say power?
Yes.
Help me understand power.
Well, the feeling that you're on top all the time.
Right? I'm
Sense
on
of
top.
superiority.
Yeah. All right, let's look on the other quadrant there. So that was our mermaid. Let's look at our pot. That was our pot of gold. This was our. I'm only stammering as though I don't remember it, so that it gives you a chance to remember it and reinforce learning. This was our robbers, the thing that we got the pot of gold. Now we have to worry about robbers. If we now forgive wantingly, I'm not saying that we should, but compared to how we're doing it right now, if we were to forgive more, we might have this problem that we've never had before in our current reality. We would have this potential undesirable effect. If we were to be more forgiving, we might all of a sudden find that we have this problem of
vulnerability.
All right, now I'm definitely out. We might have this problem of vulnerability. If we forgive people, we're going to have to be more vulnerable.
Weak.
Oh, we might be seen as weak. Not saying that that's necessarily true, but we might get seen as weak if we forgive people.
Yeah.
People might also do what if we start forgiving more? We might forgive more and people might, or we might what?
Take advantage.
Advantage of us.
People might take advantage of us. It doesn't actually happen, but it could happen. That we could be taken advantage of.
Oh, you haven't lived in the Ramos family.
Be blamed for being like the people we're forgiving.
Wait. Say that again, Rags.
Might be blamed. We might accrue blame because we're not keeping the bad people away in their unreal state.
Right.
Some of my loved ones might be mad at me because I'm abandoning the ship.
Yeah, the righteous place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rita, what do you say?
I was agreeing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Emptiness.
If we forgive people, we might wind up feeling some emptiness.
Really?
If you give up the hate and the anger that fills you so much, it's going to be hella quiet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have to be angry at anything anymore.
If we give up this anger, the self-righteousness, our worldview, and our power, we might feel blamed, we might be vulnerable, we might be seen as weak, we might be taken advantage of, and we might have to deal with a huge vacuum of emptiness. Now, being the former math teacher, the rabbi, I don't know which one's former, but anyway, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I think we've laid it out pretty clearly here. No, let me add in one other part. What are other advantages? If we forgive people, this is something that we will lose. This is something that we might get. What is in our pot of gold? If we start living a life of more forgiveness, give me some more of this pot of gold, because right now it does not seem like anything I want to do.
Well, you're not giving the other person the power to be on your mind all the time.
You're going to get freedom.
Freedom, definitely.
We could probably end right there, but give me some more. What else do you get if you start forgiving yourself? Yeah. If you start forgiving yourself, you might find you have now
feelings.
Yeah.
Feelings.
Peace of mind.
Did you say feelings?
Yeah, I said feelings. You may have discovered you have feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, now that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, emotion, real
I'm
emotion.
with you. There are no emotions that are wrong, but
You may
having come from the place that I came from, feelings used to scare the crap out of me.
Okay, compassion. How's that?
Okay, we might have some compassion. What else might we have? What would happen to our friends?
They might spread it forward. You might be giving an example and everybody does it. So we end up with, oh my goodness, world peace.
Oh no.
I love it. Frightening.
What a thought.
I know.
World peace starts with.
We might have kumbaya. I don't know.
I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna guarantee that we're gonna get world peace, but I'm gonna say that we have world peacefuller. Like we're getting towards world peace.
Yeah. Because there's one less person angry.
Yeah.
Openness to feel something better.
Anger.
Hope. Maybe
you get more love around the world.
You're going to get more people who want to be your friend. Why? Because you don't hold grudges.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have more love, more friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
You've got a more positive form of self-righteousness.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Ooh.
Okay. I think we've done the math that we need to do here. Let me end us with what sounds like a prayer. How's that?
Hey.
Feels like a clerical thing to do.
Amen.
May we all, as we continue from this moment forward, find that we have more forgiveness, that we are able to stop our anger not only at flaws, not only at mistakes, but we also are able to stop our anger at offenses. May we find forgiveness for those people who are offensive, who are flawed, who are mistaken, and may we find forgiveness for ourselves when we are flawed, mistaken, or when we make offenses. May we all be able to deal with the negative ramifications of having vulnerability. Let me take a look at my cards. The emptiness. Let us all deal with the fact that we have more feelings that will enter into that emptiness. But let us go forward and try to bring into this world more peace, more love, more compassion. And let's say together, amen.
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 Bye.
Said Alex is going to be in charge of the room.